Welcome to the Extraordinary Purpose Podcast, where we explore some of the truly difficult questions and challenges that parents and their families face every day. Whether it's the sometimes painful process of parenting teens and young adults, navigating relationships with your partner and children, or you discovering your purpose in relationship with yourself, we will bring heartfelt and vulnerable conversations to the table to support and empower you. Our mission is to help you create a lifestyle full of love, passion, adventure, and influence. Here we go.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the Extraordinary Purpose Podcast with another solo episode. I'm Erin. I'm so happy to be here with all of you. And I'm just looking out the window at another snowy day here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I hope you guys are all having a great week. We have had such a snowy winter. You would think Michigan is snowy all winter long, surrounded by the Great Lakes, but I'm telling you, I moved back to my home state about 7 years ago, and it's usually just very cold and gray, and you get this like a little occasional snow, but we have had snow all winter so far, and it's only the middle of January. But I love it. It's beautiful to look at. I don't love driving in it. So I'm really excited for today's topic, but before we dive into this episode, I just wanted to touch base a little bit about something we talked about last week. So I recorded my first solo episode last week of 2026. If you didn't get a chance to catch it, go back and listen. I don't want to reiterate the whole episode, but I was talking about how Chris and I did some reflection work and really got clear on 2025. Really got clear on our celebrations, the things we're proud of, how we grew, what we learned about ourselves, our challenges. And one area that I felt really good about is that I gave a lot of attention towards the end of the year to my health and wellness, to my longevity, to my energy, to really understanding more about my body and my mind in midlife. And so I talked about the journey that I started towards the end of 2025 with GLP-1s. So I don't want to go into all of it here again. Go back and listen if you want to catch that journey. But I did promise that I would kind of keep you updated as things came up for me. For those of you who are considering it or are curious or want to know a little bit more about somebody else's journey, what gave me permission to jump on board with that is that I read other people's stories and other friends of mine shared their stories with me, and it helped me so much. So something I talked about that was a draw for me, something that was important to me as I started to listen and educate myself and become really mindful and aware that one of the ways GLP-1s really help is with addiction. And they help sort of quieting down that voice. You know, maybe have heard people talk about that food noise, that when they started taking GLP-1s, there was just something about it targets that part of the brain that is really loud and kind of makes you feel like you need to fill yourself up with something, food or maybe alcohol or smoking or shopping or whatever your vice is or the vices. And for some of us, it's a lot stronger than others. So I shared that mine was alcohol. I've struggled with drinking at different points in my life. And when I started really educating myself about this, I was very curious to see how that was going to work for me. And so when I was editing last week's podcast, I recognized that I didn't actually follow up with that part of it. So for those of you who might be curious, I wanted to let you know that, I'm a little over 3 months into my journey. And in regards to that specifically, it has been night and day. So really has worked well for me. I just don't have those urges anymore. I don't have that need to alter my state or not feel something. Now, let me clarify. Mentally, it still pops up for me, right? The kids stress me out. Chris and I get in an argument, whatever. Things are still triggers. Family triggers me. I still have moments where I'm like, oh my God, that would be nice. I'd love a drink. The next step is now no longer there. I don't feel this need to follow through with it. It's like a passing thought, just like when I'm in meditation and my to-do list starts to go through my mind, but I let it pass by like a cloud in the sky and I move on with my meditation. That's kind of what it's like. It's there. The thought comes and goes. but I have zero desire physically to actually give in to that urge. And so, this again could be a whole nother topic in itself, but I really just want to encourage anybody that has struggled with addictive patterns and behaviors. We are learning so much every day. People in the field of addiction are starting to recognize that GLP-1s are starting to become on the cutting edge of helping with this epidemic. And so do yourself a favor, educate yourself, find some articles to read, find some podcasts to listen to. It's really fascinating. And I'm telling you firsthand, it has really quieted down that voice. And then one other thing that I feel like is sort of coinciding with that, I had a little aha moment last week one day, maybe because I shared this on the podcast, it was really on my mind, but I said to Chris maybe about a month or so back, maybe a little bit more, that I said, I've just been feeling really peaceful lately. I have just been feeling very content and very satisfied, I guess, are the words that come to mind. Now, don't get me wrong. I am somebody who always wants to be learning and growing. I love challenging myself. I'm not where I want to be in certain areas of my life yet. I hope I never am, because it keeps me going, learning, and I'm hungry for that next step. But for instance, I'll just be going through my day and something might come up that would stress me out or make me feel anxious. And I'll just have these thoughts of thinking about having dinner with my family that night. I'll think about Chris and I having a fire and watching our favorite show, or getting in bed and reading together. I'll think about Sunday brunch with my kids. And I've just been having this really warm feeling come over me where I feel very content, very peaceful, very grateful for my life. And I really do think that maybe it's the GLP-1s as well. I think that it just quiets down that part of our brain that's just this constant need for more, need to change your state, need to fill yourself up with something. And so I just wanted to share that with you, because I did promise that as I have more breakthroughs and I recognize how this medication is changing my life and my outlook and my energy, I want to keep sharing with you. All right. Enough of that, enough about the GLP-1s. Let's move on to today's topic. I am so excited to talk about this with all of you, especially for all the moms out there that have daughters and young women in their lives. This topic is really close to my heart. It's something I've been really shouting from the rooftops lately and really talking about in social media, talking about with all the moms I speak to, because I talk to moms every day on the phone. I talk to moms who reach out. They want to have a chat with me about working with their daughter. And I hear so often that moms feel, for lack of a better word, they feel like they failed. They feel like something isn't right with their relationship with their daughter, that they did something wrong, that something's gone awry, because they have gotten to this place. They were always so close with their daughter. Maybe they still are really close, but they just can't seem to be the one that's helping their daughter move forward. She feels stuck. She has no confidence right now. She has all these amazing opportunities at her feet, and she just can't seem to get any grounding. And her self-confidence is low. She has a lot of negative self-talk going on. And a lot of moms just feel very helpless. They are not sure what to do, and they're frustrated and wondering, why can't I help my daughter? I've always been able to be there for her, but she just doesn't want to talk to me about anything. And so what I want to say first and foremost is, you haven't failed. You're doing a fantastic job. Girls, young women are wired to need separation from their moms. They are wired to need to go out and seek out other empowered female mentors and role models who they can trust, they can build relationships with, other women in their lives who see their potential, who can listen to them, who can help them see a different perspective. So that has been a really big topic for me lately. And I think part of it stems from, I had a mom ask me yesterday, she just asked me about my journey, and I loved that. She said, what brought you into life coaching? What made you want to build this business and work with young women? So I told her a little bit about my journey. And I think that's a big part of my passion, especially on this topic, because when I was a young adult, and I'm going to get into that in just a second, But when I was a young adult, I had some incredible mentors and role models that came into my life that changed the trajectory of my life. It changed the direction for me. And it is actually 25 years ago what put me on the path that I'm still on today. Personal development, a spiritual foundation. And this is what has inspired me and motivated me to want to work with young women. So why don't we start there a little bit? I'll share a little bit about where I was when I was a young adult. I started a modeling career when I was a teenager, and that is what I did for many years. So I started modeling at about 14, moved to New York City right after I graduated from high school, and I lived in New York City. I traveled internationally and did that whole modeling world gig for a long time. And so that was my life for a while. And so during that time, I went through a lot of ups and downs. I went through different times in my life where I was like partying too much and got caught up in that for a while. Felt very lonely, very insecure at times. I was a very confident teenager. I think that's why I was able to take my career as far as I did. I believed in myself. I didn't have a lot of body image issues, things like that. But inevitably, all young women go through these phases where they start to lose confidence in themselves. They get out in the world, whether they go do something like I did and take a totally different path in life, or they go to college, and all of a sudden they're out of the circle of their friends back home and they're a safe family back home, and you go out into the big world somewhere. You're going to start questioning yourself. You're going to start losing your footing. So I went through some really hard times, and eventually I met somebody who ended up becoming the love of my life at that time for about 4.5 years. He was my boyfriend, and this was I think we met when I was about 21, 22. And he really helped me to understand a lot of things about myself. He was a little older than me and helped me recognize that I was a great writer and I was a poet and an artist, which I had never actually seen myself in that light. He was very spiritual. I think that's what attracted me to him. And long story short, in that phase of my life, as we were best friends, and I found my way into this sort of spiritual awakening in my life at that time. Really connected with my Native American culture, started reading every personal growth book I could get my hands on. And during that time, through him and just through my journey, I met some incredible women in my life that were very spiritual. Some of them were like sober and in recovery at that time. Some of them were just women that I met who were leading women's retreats. I met Marianne Williamson at that time and was going to a lot of her readings and met women there. So I just had some incredible people that came into my life, and some of them were men too. I had some incredible male mentors as well. And my very first real spiritual teacher was a man, taught me how to meditate, taught me about esoteric psychology and self-observation and all of that. So it's a very impressionable age. Those late teens, early 20s, all the way through your late 20s can be a very, very impressionable time in a young woman's life and our development. And so all of those books, all of those teachers, and not even just mentors, sometimes they were just random people that kind of came into my life. I was living in New York City, so for anyone that's lived in a big city, you know what that can be like. Sometimes you just meet these random people. But I came to see all of these people as like angels in my life, and they really helped open up my eyes to this whole world of personal growth and spirituality. And over time, as the years went by, I would reflect back on that time in my life and I would think, why did I go through that? How did I meet Randy? And why did I go through some of those really dark nights of the soul that led me to this place in my life? I was trying to connect all the dots, and I realized that it was because I was meant to do something with all of that. It's like I was given this gift of like extreme growth in a short amount of time so that I could take all of that and share it with other women. And so that's what I did in some form or another. That's what I've been doing ever since. And now we have extraordinary purpose, and I get to work with all these incredible moms and young women. So I am so passionate about this because I know for a fact that although I came from a family full of women, my mom and I are very close. We always have been. My sisters and I have been close intermittently, and I have nieces. So I have a lot of women in my family, but they were not going to be the ones that were going to really help me learn about my passions in life and find my purpose and find my life's work, right? That had to come from other people. That had to come from mentors and role models outside of my family. And so it's just a natural progression. I'm not saying that your daughter needs to go through a lot of dark nights of the soul in order to find her way to mentors and role models. But if you are a mom who's feeling less than, who's feeling like you let your daughter down, who's feeling like helpless and frustrated and scared, maybe you're really worried about your daughter, I just want you to know that it's okay and to have grace with yourself, right? Girls need that separation from their moms and often just their families in general so that they can start to explore their own identity, so that they can explore their passions. They can explore their values and their strengths and who they are. And they can have this sort of freedom to show up as a different version of themselves than they show up when they're at home with their siblings and mom and dad or even friends from back home. When I start working with these young women, it's an opportunity for them to come to our coaching sessions as this different version of themselves. They get to explore and try on new identities and try on new interests and curiosities that they might not feel comfortable talking about or opening up about to their moms. And again, I always say this, Chris and I both always say this on our podcast together, we're with you guys, right? We're parents too, and I know what that's like. When I see my son, who's now 18, he has this great therapist now, and I see him talking about things that he talks about with her, and he's opening up to other people. He even opens up to my sister differently than he does to me. It pulls on my heartstrings a little bit. I'm like, well, gosh, but I'm mom. You don't want to talk to me? So I totally understand how that can feel. But I'm telling you, there's something, and I know you know what I mean, because at the end of the day, we just love our daughters. We love our kids, right? And we just want them to find fulfillment and confidence and reassurance and self-assurance. We want them to find their journey, regardless of where that is. So I just really want to give you permission as moms to find those other mentors and role models for your daughter. Let her go a little bit more. Let her get out there and find what she really needs to explore. So if you'd ever like to have a conversation with me about your daughter, if you are feeling any of the things I described here today and you're concerned, you're worried, you're frustrated, you feel like there's only so much you can do, and maybe you're just looking for some outside guidance and support, I'm here to support you. I will leave a link below in the show notes if you ever want to book a call to chat with me. I am here for you. Us moms have to stick together. And until next time, I hope you all have a beautiful week, and I will see you next week. Take care. We are so thankful for you and your beautiful family, and hope you found something inside today's episode that brought you hope, inspiration, and most importantly, a path forward. If you're interested in evolving your relationship, giving your kids the most important gift of personal growth and development, or are a mom looking to reconnect with your confidence and become empowered in all areas of your life, then schedule a discovery call with us today. Our mission is to help as many families as possible find their purpose, and that starts with you. See you in the next episode, my friends.